Okay, whether you are like a super glam girl or you're more of a minimalist, either way, illuminators are so much fun to play with, okay? I wanna show you what we've got because we have both cream illuminators, okay? We have quite the selection of cream, or we have powdered illuminators. So when it comes to choosing between a cream and a powder, typically what I say is if you have more maturing skin, a cream illuminator is going to be best. Only because a lot of times when we put our illuminator on, it's getting pretty close to our eyes. And with maturing skin, we have little lines in that area, right? So sometimes the powders may get in that area, which is why we don't put a lot of powders underneath our eyes. So a lot of times for maturing women, I do suggest cream, but that's not to say that you can't use powder too. Powders, on the other hand, have a whole bunch of pigment, right? You've seen them. You can even see it right here, just how much pigment that they carry. So you don't need a lot. You can put it on all the places that I'm going to reference as far as points where you might want to put your illuminator. But with the powders, if you are doing any like bold makeup looks, a lot of times when I've helped with wedding makeup, I will use my illuminator as a finishing product for an eyeshadow because the pigment, it's so impactful, especially when you're taking photos. So a lot of times I will use those powder illuminators for eyes. All right, the best brush that I use when it comes to putting my illuminators on is the blend brush. The blend brush is one that has the lightest coverage, but the great thing about that is it picks up that pigment ever so nicely, so you can pinpoint exactly where you want to put your illuminator. So for example, let's say I come into one of my creams. Let's just come into rose gold, okay? It's a fan favorite, so this is rose gold. I can come in with my blend brush and pick up some beautiful pigment when I dip it in. So one of the most common areas is right on top of that lip and cheek color. So kind of when you're smiling and you start to see where that lift is, we like to put illuminator there, especially if you are outside. The sunlight just catches the illuminator. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful complement without going over the top glitter, right? So let's do the other side. Again, I think the blend brush is absolutely perfect for getting the placement of the illuminator and not adding too much product because we don't want it to become thick, especially where we already have contour and lip and cheek in this area. So just think of it as your contour, your lip and cheek, your illuminator, and then you have that brightener. So you're just kind of squeezing it right in there. So when you smile or when you're outside, that sunlight just really hits it and just gives that beautiful glow. A couple other places that women love putting it is you could put a little bit right underneath your brow, right here. It's gonna catch some more light. Some women will take it down the center of their nose. Because remember, we brighten towards the center, so we're just bringing a little bit more light to catch down the center or even just the tip of your nose. Other women love putting it just a little bit on that Cupid's bow. Just adds a little bit of oomph, right? Super pretty, very light catching. And this can be very minimalist, or you can go over the top, right? You could come into some of those powders. Let me just show you a couple of them. Some of the fan favorites, right? Glamazing. Look at how much pigment a powder has. So that one's Glamazing. Let me come into the other one, Georgia. Georgia is a little bit more of that gold shimmer. And then let's do Photoshop. trying to wipe my fingers off in between so I don't mix the colors. Okay, Photoshop has more of that pink. Look at how much illumination these powders have. So again, coming in with your blend brush to pick these colors up will be super important, because then you can, again, place it exactly where you want it to be on your face without getting it all over and looking like you have glitter all over the place, right? So that's why I highly suggest the blend brush. It's great for putting it on. And then you can choose whether you want powders or if you want to go cream for that illumination. And little trick, dream team right here. Some of you have heard of this. I love taking my Glow Illuminator. See how it kind of has like that bronze tint to it? Putting this right up next to my Bella bronzer. So that way, when I go to apply my Bella bronzer, it's right up next to Glow. I can take my big fluffy end of my blush and bronzer and I just dab a little bit into each, a little bit more square footage. So now when you put your bronzer on in those areas, you're gonna pull a little bit of illuminator as well. One-stop shop, right? So that's Glow along with my Bella. So many different things you can do. So make sure you check out Illuminators, because they are such a fun little staple to have in your compact and can just add that beautiful little bit of glow, light catching that you may want for that day. Any questions? Reach out to me.